I'm just gonna go ahead and introduce. Thank you for being live on Codebreaker Real Talk. I have Marcel Seifert for the third time, part 3, on Codebreaker Real Talk. I'm really excited because now his friends are gonna see him live. So thank you, Marcel, for being on. Thank you, Tom and Susan. And we talked a lot last time about Germany and politics and UFOs. Our professor, I saw your pictures on Facebook. I shared some of them on the thumbnail. Where was that, where you went to take those awesome pictures?
That's been in my hometown, Mannheim. I was visited by one of my friends from Slovakia, yeah, and I made a little tour with her and showed her some of the main sites, yeah, which are the water tower, the castle, and the church of the Jesuits.
Oh wow, that is so awesome! I like your shirt. So
that's what I gotta say. First of all, I wanted to thank my friend Robert Mason from Australia because he sent me this hoodie for free a while ago.
Huh. Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Very nice. I love it. I love it. So Marcel, where did you get when did you become a professor? How did you know about UFOs? Were you ever abducted? This is for people that don't know anything about you. Any experiences?
I have no memories of any abductions. Yeah. From a little kid on, I was a science fiction fan. But as we know now, it's more science than fiction. What they have been presenting us in the last couple of decades. Yeah. So yeah, it's a very interesting subject because I started to search for our real origins. Yeah, because all this God has created all us and all this realm and stuff didn't make sense to me. Yeah. So, and it looks like that had some other beings the hand on our existence here. Yeah. And that is making much more sense that there is this almighty God in the heavens that created us. Yeah.
You know, The Walking Dead Fear the Walking Dead has put forward. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. So we have forgotten about our real origins, yeah, through all these couple of thousands of years, yeah. Probably the ancient people knew better about it, yeah. And so there are lots of things that we've been told by our so-called mainstream historians that are not correct, so to say, yeah. And this is why the description of my group, The Real History of Humanity, is just rewriting history, because it's now on us, yeah, to correct all this stuff that we've been told wrong. Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? Am I coming through?
Yes.
Oh, you are. I just wanted to share something with him that on The Walking Dead, it's called Fear the Walking Dead. It's one of their latest episodes they've been putting out. They're now putting out, Hollywood's putting out now for the Christian community, they're putting out the idea that we've been praying to the wrong being because of all the horror, and they have a priest coming before their congregation saying, doing communion, and saying that all the suffering, everything, and realizing then that God was evil and that he wanted us to keep doubting and experiencing suffering until we finally figured out that God was evil and he's not the right one from all these It's just fascinating how they're using all the horror to now make this coming out, where we knew this would be coming. And so now it's a logical argument, and through their series, they're going to be bring this more and more, as if we've been duped by what we believed in all this time. It's fascinating to be alive at this time to see this unfolding. So it's going to be a upside down world for all kinds of people and their faith systems. as more and more, why would horror be allowed? Anyway, just want to share that.
Yes. Thank you, Tom. Marcel, you have sent me several things, which I don't remember all of them, but you have had some paranormal activity happen to you, like something dropping, the glasses, the coins that you sent me. Do you want to share a little bit about your paranormal experiences?
Yes, the major paranormal experience that I had was back in, I guess it's been 1991. Yeah. When I came home from work, and I was always laying down on my back because, the problems that I have with my spine. And I was laying down on my couch, and all of a sudden, you all know the feeling when your hand is sleeping in or your foot, and it feels like that there's thousands of needles thrown, it's tingling in English, I guess, onto it. And all of a sudden, I had this feeling on my whole body, from my head to my toes. Yeah. and I thought, well, what the heck's going on now? What the heck's going on now? Yeah. And this lasted for about maybe 30 to 40 seconds. Yeah. And within this little amount of time, I was fed with informations. Yeah. Today, back then, nobody knew what this is. Yeah. But today we know that this was an update that I got. Yeah. And they were feeding me with terabytes and terabytes of information within these 30 or 40 seconds. It's just like loading something down on your computer. Yeah. So, and they were telling me things about the new world order and other stuff that nobody knew back then in 1991, and lots of other things. And then later I had no possibility to check all these infos that I got. Yeah. And later then when I joined the internet, I was searching for all these things, and I found all this stuff. Yeah. So I was really baffled. Yeah, because all the things that they were loading down into me was true. Yeah, was totally correct. So, and yeah, that's I guess that's been a major, that's the reason why I'm doing all this, and why I'm here talking to you. Yeah. So is this experience that I had? I had another experience, because some of these, I call them multi-dimensional beings. Yeah. They are manifesting in water vapor, or is it, yeah, or in dust. Yeah. Some people doing these ITC, instrumental transcommunication, if you know about that. Yeah, with water pots and water filming into the water. Yeah, and to me it looks like that they are able to manifest in clouds also, as funny as it sounds. Yeah, because yeah, I had the most awesome experience that I had was a couple of years back in Spain. It's been in 2013, and I was walking with my mother with a dog. Yeah. And we met two of our neighbors, and for a while we were standing there talking to them. And I was taking our dog on my breast, cuddling him, and I looked up to the clouds behind these other three. Yeah, and all of a sudden, onto this cloud, a large face appeared. Looking down on me. It's been maybe 100 meters high. Yeah, it's about 300 foot. And looked down on me and was smiling on me. Was smiling on me, yeah. And as fast as it appeared on this cloud, it is started to dissolve and disappear. Yeah. So if I would have told these other three guys, "Hey, turn around, look at what's going on up there," it was already gone. Yeah. So it's probably only been for me. Yeah. Because in this year, in this 2013, I had the most sightings of such things, and I made lots of photos of these clouds. I presented them in one of my previous shows that I did with Jessica. Yeah, So this is not pareidolia. Yeah, for sure some things are pareidolia that you can explain with this, but it's not. But it is not all. Yeah, because such things are happening to me all the time in the clouds. Yeah,
No,
in
I
front of
believe you.
in front of my house, above my house, I guess there's some kind of a portal. Yeah, because I made many pictures here from these cloud faces. Yeah, so it's really awesome.
It is. Thank you, Marcel. I do believe you. I see cities up in the clouds. I see ships. I see faces. I see the mantids. I see the dragon. I even see seahorses. I see the whales. I see so many entities up there. And just recently, Julia, hi, Julia, if you're watching from Greece, she sent me a small video on Instagram saying, whoa, you know, they're showing these huge cities on the clouds. And I said, I've been talking about that for a long time. Now, when you said, Marcel, and you've been seeing this for a long time too, when you said that the face was just for you, I totally agree. One morning I woke up, and as I opened my eyes, I saw a porcelain, I'm not kidding, porcelain male with porcelain face and hair, very curly up to the shoulders, just staring down at me. He was an angel. He was an angel form, and it was porcelain. And I was like, what the heck? And then another time in 2018, I also wrote about this, is the Maitreya. I didn't know who the Maitreya was. I was telling myself, you know, I think we've all been masters here on Earth. And I've been seeing. Go ahead.
Maitreya is the last prophet, so to say.
Wow. Thank you for telling me that.
You never heard about that?
I didn't
some people,
hear
some people claim that he's already here for for many years now, living in the UK. But I don't know if it's true. Yeah, but Maitreya is known to be the last prophet. No.
Okay, I didn't know he was known to be the last prophet, but I when I saw him, I totally started investigating. And what it was, as I opened my eyes, I saw a cave behind me in a triangle, and lights, very dim light from the back. And he comes out, he has a turban and a white dress, and he comes out with his hands out like this, and he has holes in them. And he comes to me, and I wake up. And ever since then, I've been investigating, who is this guy? I didn't know he was the last prophet. Thank you for telling me. But there's a lot of things we come in contact with when you're open to understanding what is the truth. Like Marcel said, we've been fed religion. We've been fed, there's this man looking down at us. You know, when I had my near-death experience, which I've talked about a lot, and I'm not going to take the time right now, I realized that there was beings from the Hindu religion that wanted to take my soul. They were the blue beings, blue dark charcoal beings cut in half, and they were trying to take my soul. So it's very interesting. Years later, I found out I actually had to slay them to say no. But I did get brought back. I saw my father in the corner saying, you're not done yet. You still have kids. Come back. I didn't want to come back. I fought all the way. But Marcel, what do you think we're doing here? We're helping others to enlighten one another, right? We're helping each other remember where we came from. What do you think we're here for, Marcel?
Yeah, I guess I believe in this Buddhist religion mostly. Yeah, that it's just like that it's all like functioning like a circle. Yeah, so that we already had lives here. Yeah, and then now we are in the present. But it's highly likely that there will be reincarnations again. Yeah. So in the Asian world and in the Buddhist world, this is totally common knowledge. Yeah. But to us, it's all, oh yeah, this is all fantasy stuff and rubbish and stuff. But I guess these guys are way closer to the truth than we are with our religion. Yeah, because even in Christianity, reincarnation was taught until the Middle Ages, I guess. Yeah, but then they took it out. They came up with a version of hell and heaven. Yeah, to make lots of money from it, because in former times, when you did something wrong, you had to visit your priest, and you had to pay. Yeah, to pay for forgiveness. Yeah. So and if it's been hard crimes that you have had committed, you had to pay more for it, yeah, to be forgiven. that's that's how the Catholic Church, for example, made lots of money. Or their major money with this system, yeah, and that's why the evangelics came up and founded their own religion, because of this paying for soons in English, I guess. Yeah. Forgiving for this forgiveness, and the evangelics then spread away from the Catholics, because of this payment system for forgiveness. Because
They say,
I'm evangelic, or I was born evangelic. Yeah, I left the church. I left my membership of the evangelic church, because we in Germany, we are the only ones on this planet who have to pay church taxes, no matter if you are evangelic or Catholic. Yeah. So I guess it's 1.5% of what you earn directly goes to the church every month. Yeah, and the more you earn, the more it gets. Yeah, so in 2000, I left my membership of the evangelic. I never signed it. Yeah, I never joined. I was born into, so to say, because my parents were evangelics. So me always also. And so I stepped out of the church, because I didn't want to pay any longer for these. We had several scandals in the church, as you know, yeah. And I won't say this word here, but I don't want to pay for these, yeah, pedophiles, it's called.
yes, exactly.
And I can say this. I can say this here live on YouTube, because these are real scandals. These were real scandals in my country, especially. I guess maybe in other countries as well. Yeah.
It is. And a lot of children go missing all the time. And a lot of people say, oh, but they've been missing all the time. They were, when I was a kid, we would see them while we were eating our cereal. We would see them in the milk cartons. But now we know that they're being taken off planet for these pedos. I was listening to Carrie Cassidy. She said that Biden would have his wife bring in the children for him. And I do not consent to this. I do not consent to the children being taken off planet or wherever, underground or here, to be used, for whatever things that they use, plus their abilities, plus the blood. It's just not right. This needs to end. Do you think that with the new world order, with the new religion, do you think, Marcel, that they're going to ask us to pay taxes for the new world religion? What do you think?
What was the question? I didn't really understand it.
Do you think with the new world order, the new world religion, sorry, my dog is barking, if they're going to want to make us pay a tax for that one religion? What do you
Yeah, probably they're coming up with this fake alien invasion, yeah, and presenting us some kind of a savior race then as our new religion or new gods, yeah. It is some people believe that these reptilians, for example, that their god is AI, yeah, it's an AI god. Probably they have created them on their own. I don't know. Yeah, and look at where we are now. When I look, especially to the United States, how many billions they are throwing into this AI technology now? Yeah, hundreds of billions. So we all know the movies Terminator, for example. Yeah, and what I'm saying is, okay, this AI probably not too bad to help us Yeah, but don't give this AI a body. as long as it only can do text messages, yeah, or research for us in the internet, that's okay, yeah. As long as it doesn't have a body, because probably it turns out then these Terminator movies are probably also more science than fiction, yeah. So I don't want to have these robots running around here like we've seen in these movies and killing people and taking over humanity. Yeah. So
Well, yeah, the DARPA dogs already exist, and you know the DARPA robots already exist.
yeah,
The cyborg,
yeah.
I mean, they've existed for a long time. It's just that they don't want the public to know, hey, we got an army of these, just like the movie I, Robot. And why do you think we have all these movies, right, Tom and Susan? Why are they showing all this end time and the fighting with the machines, and something's about to pop up. Now, I'm going to have John DeSalza. He said he would try in October Beyond, but he was saying that the fake alien invasion involves fake aliens and real machinery. But at the same time, we know that there are aliens. It's just that the government also grows, even before Atlantean times, in Atlantean times, and Lemurian times, they would grow what they call the Fomorians. And Dark Journalist talks about this, where they're half human and half animal. And Carrie Cassidy talks about the mantids having like an insectoid army. And I have seen the mantids in the astral. Now, with me, they're okay. I've never had a problem with them, but there are certain races that I have had to war against. So have you, Marcel, had any, other than the downloads, did you ever have to like fight, or did you get language codes? Do you see any language codes, or did you ever draw what you saw or was downloaded?
No, I never made any drawings. Yeah, these two events that I told about, these were the two major events that I had, yeah, in the last 30 years, and probably there's more coming. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, and
I believe so.
my friend from Australia sent me this hoodie. He's now starting with the CE5 events, and it's also on the back here. CE5 first, CE5 first, and he's starting now with CE5 event because he had lots of sightings. Yeah. All the time. It's ongoing since 2012, since he first flew from Australia to his mother country, which is the UK. Yeah, and there was he had a sighting of a cigar ship. Yeah, cylindrical ship that flew below the plane. Yeah. And since then he had lots of other sightings in Perth, yeah. And he has taped them all. He has all this footage of it, yeah. And he also wrote a book, The Higher Cause, yeah, about his stuff. And yeah, I don't know what's coming. I'm still waiting for something. I'm still waiting. Oh no, there was something else that I've forgotten. It's been in 2020, I guess. I was laying here on my couch and was watching TV. Yeah, and all of a sudden, a, an orb, yeah, an orb came flying from behind the TV. Yeah, from behind the TV. It was maybe that size. Yeah, and it was shining. Yeah, but it did not emit any light. The light stayed within this orb, so it was bright. It was bright, yeah, but it did not emit, and it was slowing. It was slowly floating to where I hung up my clothes for drying, yeah, and flew into the clothes, into the clothes, yeah, and then it disappeared, yeah, it disappeared. So And I thought, oh wow, now I've seen my first orb, because it was really amazing, because for the fact that it's been shining, it's been shining. Yeah, it's like these bubbles that you can that you can make with soap. Yeah, these soap bubbles. Yeah, but probably that's all. And it's been an event of maybe 5 or 6 seconds. Yeah, and then it disappeared into my clothes. And I didn't stand up. I didn't even stand up and jump to my clothes if I can find it anyway. Because I thought, yeah, okay, it's gone. Probably it's coming out again one day or whatever. Yeah.
I love the way you laugh, Marcel. That always makes me laugh too. Were you like eating chips or anything? What were you eating while watching a movie or anything when the orb came in? What were you doing? Just watching the TV?
Oh, I can't remember. This is a good question. I can't remember what the movie was that I was watching.
No, what were you doing? The only reason why I say this is because I just had a dream 2 days ago. And
okay.
I know that we are able to travel in that form just by ourselves when we astral travel. So in this dream, I was jumping. I told Susan about it. I was jumping different, it's part of Maze Runner and Wall Rider project. I was running through windows, TVs. I was jumping through fences, going up on walls. They had me, they ended up just leaving me in the desert, and then it would turn into mountain ranges. Well, what I did is I went into a house and nobody knew I was there, and astrally. And when I went through from I went through like 4 or 5 houses. When I got to the last house, there was a little boy that had a hoodie, a brown hoodie. I'm not saying it's you, but I'm just saying this is what I had the dream 2 days ago. And he had his hair to the side, brown, and he was like eating chips. And he was in the big TV that are old on the floor, square, right? And round in the middle. And he looked at me, and I said, "Are you going to tell your parents I'm here telepathically?" And he just looked at me, and then he gave me some chips. Then I was trying to go through the window. So I went through the window. He was watching TV on the floor, sitting on the ground. He was maybe about 7 years old or so. And then I went through the window and I was outside, and then the parents woke up and they said, "Oh, do you need a ride?" And I said, "Sure." So then they took me somewhere, but then these Asian man and a very tall Indian man with 3 more scientists took me and put me on a table, and then they put a yellow gel on my left hand, and then it went numb. Remember you said it went numb on you. So my hand went numb, and then I looked at my forearm and my arm, and that was starting to hurt a lot. And I wake up and I'm thinking, okay, there was one incident a few years ago when I was in Venus in my dream, and I was a little boy, and they had these people giving up their life, their sangre, their blood, into these, it was like a huge biosphere in Venus, and they had sold their soul. And they had been promised that their family on Earth was going to be taken care of. Well, I was a little boy, and they were putting the metal. I had a silver hand, part of the Silver Surfer program, and also Kruger. So have you ever had any weapons coming out of you or anything like that? Anything placed on your body that you remember? Anything? Implants? Do you think the beings that connected with you might have implanted you to track you? Do you think you made a contract? I know it's a lot of questions. Sorry, Marcel.
No, but when you're talking about dreams, one day I had a dream that appeared that I am in my astral body traveling, yeah, and I was going through the earth with my astral body through the entire earth, yeah, and then I have gone up to the stratosphere, yeah, and into space, yeah. And at first I was really shocked, because I thought, oh no, there is no oxygen. Now I'm going to death, yeah, because I can't breathe. And then the second thought was, oh no, you are in your astral body. You don't need any oxygen at all. Yeah. And then I was flying and then I was like, oh, so I'm going to the sun. Yeah, and then within a couple of seconds, yeah, the speed of light when you're traveling with the speed of light, you take 8 minutes to the sun. Yeah, it's 8 light minutes away from Earth. So within 5 seconds, I've been to the sun. So I've been way faster than the speed of light. And then I went through the sun because the sun is a portal. Yeah, it's a portal that you can go through. And I came out on some kind of a planet with giants. Yeah. And they were sitting in front of their maybe home or been a castle. Yeah, and there were large stairs up to, and there were 3 large chairs, and these giants, they maybe were 10, 15 meters tall. Yeah, they were sitting, so it's hard to estimate. And they had large dogs, black dogs. Yeah. And the dogs were able to speak. Even they were talking to them, yeah, just like we are talking now. And I was a bit, and I pissed my pants a bit, so to say, because I'm standing in front of these 15-meter tall sitting giants, yeah, in front of their castle, or what it was. And I was like, in the name of Jesus Christ. because I thought, if anything will work now, it's only this.
You said that? You said that to them? You know they're just gonna be like, what do you want?
and these 3 giants, they were almost falling from their chairs from laughing. Because I came up with in the name of Jesus Christ, you know. And then it made one had some kind of a stick, yeah? And he just touched the ground with his stick, bang, and I was back home. And I was back home again. So probably it's just been a test or something. But
We're not ready.
obviously, I used the wrong phrase.
Yeah. Yeah.
So immediately they start laughing, and bam, I was back home again.
545 Tom. No, seriously, I have had dreams of giants many times. So they're beautiful. Most of my dreams, they're taking care of me, they're protecting me. And one dream, I had a dream that I was with the Nephilims, and they were protecting me in the caves. This was during the time before Jesus, obviously. And then last night I had a dream right before I went to sleep. I saw, because I was thinking about you, Marcel, and I said, okay, guys, we're going to have Marcel tomorrow in my head. Wonder what we're going to talk about. It's always so cool because, you know, we shoot from the hip here. We don't have an agenda. We just want to get to know Marcel, right? And immediately I went into a castle, and it had an oval windows, and it had art, and it had a red velvet carpet and a velvet color wall. And they said, you were here. This is the Byzantine times. I said, what? So I feel because we have been here so many times, we're remembering with our dreams. Some people say, oh, Veronica, why do you always write about dreams? Why do you always talk about dreams? Because dreams to me are real. Or they'll say, it was just a dream. No, we are being tested in the astral, and we are testing ourselves. And I do believe that we can travel just like that orb. That's what probably the other people see on the other side, you know? And we can even practice that within ourselves, you know, say, hey, I'll go visit you tonight, Marcel, or hey, Tom, you know, and we can see each other's eyes. I mean, we can feel our vibration frequency. Now, what I don't want to get stuck here on Earth, because there's a lot of programs, and Max Spears used to talk about that we'll just say they want you to get stuck on whatever ring, like for example, the ring of Saturn, right? That used to be Earth, they said. The whatever kind of program that you can get stuck on, whether it's religion, politics, sex, money, whatever, shopping, like white chicks, right? They don't care as long as you get stuck on that ring, you know, on that thought form. And I've also seen where archons are just in the middle, you know, just watching us down from wherever they are to Earth. And they're saying, "Ooh, I wonder if I place a bet on this person, I wonder if she'll do this for me or that for me." And the archons are actually thought forms that have existed here long, long ago. It's just some people listen to them, and then that's when they have their personality taken over with alcohol as well. Real quick, Stone Hobbit. Hola, Stone Hobbit. She's live today. Do you have a question for Marcel? Let me know. And I did send you an email to be on the show. Say hi, Marcel. Her name is Stone Hobbit. She's, where are you from again, Stone Hobbit? I think she's Australia or somewhere. But what advice do you have for people that have had these experiences? What I wanted to tell you, Marcel, last night I said, I'm going to tell Marcel, I would love for you to sketch your writings, even if it's just like a little kids, because I do sketches like kids too. Like maybe I'm not a professional, but get the book out. Have you ever thought about getting the book out of the giants, your experiences, all these experiences that you're talking about?
Yeah, I was asked by many of my fans to write a book about all this stuff, yeah, about all this book. But I'm a terrible writer, so to say. So I'm very good in writing songs, as you know. As you know, I wrote more than 1,100. 1,100. But a book is a totally different subject, yeah. And
Where can we hear your music?
hmm?
Where can we hear your songs?
SoundCloud.com, Marcel Seifert 4. Yeah, you just have to type in this in your browser. Yeah, don't go to SoundCloud and search for Marcel Seifert 4 because they don't find me. Just search for SoundCloud.com, Marcel Seifert 4. It's 20 that I've loaded up there, because back then you could only load up 70 minutes or something like that, yeah. And all my songs altogether are more than 60 hours. 60 hours. So this would be lots of work to load them up. Even as I said, back then you could only load up 70 minutes, or 80 minutes. It's 20 songs that I placed there. 20 songs, yeah. But some people started to load up some of the songs that I made on record on YouTube. Yeah. So I can send you. It's two now. It's two now that I found. Yeah, with my artist name, which is MUUN, Moon. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Sending you these two songs that I found that people loaded up on YouTube from a record that I did.
That would be awesome if you can send me all the links, and that way people can, because I knew there was more to you than professor. And have you taught in UFO conventions? You have, right? You've spoken over there in Germany. And I told you to come to America, but then you're like, oh, they might kill me. We won't say that though.
It's not that bad anymore if they are allowed to speak in the U.S. Congress now. Or, yeah. We had another meeting these days, yeah, and so now after I was speaking 10 or 11 times in other countries, now German channel starts to run a whole series of interviews with me. Yeah, we already did one. I was talking about the interview that I did with William Wycrow, whistleblower from the SSP. Yeah. And the next show that we are doing, I should talk about this UFO battle over Nuremberg in the year 1561. 1561, yeah. We've got a wood sheet. Yeah, it's an official event. Yeah, and they made a wood sheet, or what it's called. Yeah, and you can see. Flying saucers and cigars, yeah, and a large black spear appeared. This is a really famous sighting from the Middle Ages, yeah, from 500 years ago. And not only that, but 5 years later in the city of Bales, yeah, which is not that far away from Nuremberg. Of Bales is Switzerland, Switzerland again, yeah. Switzerland, they had a similar sighting. So in 1561 and in 1566, we had two UFO sightings in my area here. In my area here, and this is 500 years ago. So this is nothing. This is nothing new. This whole subject, yeah, it's ongoing for hundreds or thousands of years now, yeah. And so it's highly unlikely that all these sightings that we are having here now are all secret crafts that we constructed on our own. Yeah. So if it's ongoing for such a long time, it's impossible that it's our own projects. Yeah.
I
We
know
know
we
now.
do.
We know nowadays we've got this TR3B and another
Yeah.
another crafts, yeah, and these are the ones that we created or back engineered from alien technology, probably, yeah. So, but this is nowadays, yeah. It's got nothing to do with what happened 500 years ago above Nuremberg, yeah.
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
the cigarette shaped ones are reptilian that I know of. You mentioned the TR3B and the manta ray. I saw the manta ray even before it came out on YouTube. They fly it every night. They fly it with 3 helicopters, and they fly it. I live by the mountains on the north side. There's a lot of farm area, and they fly it every night. On the southwest side by a mountain, they fly it every night as well. And I have footage on YouTube. So those are military made, but there are, okay, for example, the spaceship that is here, the AI-3 Atlas, okay? Carrie Cassidy was saying that there are 30 million beings inside that ship, and she believes that it has something to do with AI, and that they're watching us because it's going to be around when Jesus' birthday, and it's going to be around too when Muhammad was given their Bible, Quran or whatever. I don't think it's called a Quran. It's something else. Sorry if I forgot, but
I know it correlates with some dates that we have,
yes.
yeah. And it's going to be behind the sun, I guess, on 29th of October. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are always happening lots of things. There's something else comes to my mind. In 2014, I was taking my mom back home from Spain because she had problems with her hip and she wanted to see a German doctor. Yeah. So we are flying back from Spain to Germany, and in 2014 we had, I guess, 13 UFO sightings above French nuclear power stations. Yeah, it's not been drones, it's not been Greenpeace, and not been, yeah, and so and on the day I was flying back with my mother to Germany. There were 6 of these 13 sightings were that day when I was in the air flying with my mother, and I was like, "Mother, look what have I told you? Yeah, I was in the air with you, and today we had 6 sightings in one day. It's 13 in 1 year."
And you know, you and your mother are very special because for 6 of them to show up, you know, they're maybe your star family, who knows? But actually, it's going to be October 1st. The the 3I A1, whatever Atlas is going to be close to the sun. It is studying us. Supposedly, it has 10 million beings in the ship. Anunnaki come in as rulers. They want to be seen as kings, especially in the 25th of December. Jesus is supposed to be his birthday. This is according to Carrie Cassidy and a guest she had on. And they had measuring the dates and things like that. But there has always been these beings studying us. It's just that here in the United States, they don't want us to see. So they use the cloud technology, which is the cloud seeding crap, and they use the chemtrails to cover them. Believe me, I've seen them and I post them online, and a lot of people say, "Oh my gosh, you're right. There's a wheel here. There's a ship here." But some people are so programmed to not seeing anything that they don't want to believe. You know, they say, oh, Veronica's just sci-fi. Oh, well, not to me. I feel the beings, right, Susan? I mean, we're highly telepathic, right, Tom? We feel these beings and they're watching us. Not only in our dreams.
There's a phenomenon, I don't know what the name is. Yeah, if you see something that you have never seen before, you don't see it. For example, when the conquistadores first arrived in the New World, in America, yeah, there were the native people sitting on the beach, and none of them was recognizing the ship's exclusive one. Exclusive one. They only saw the imprints in the water. Yeah, there were holes in the water. That's what they could see from a marine freight from the ships, but they couldn't see the ships because they had never seen such ships before. And this is a real phenomenon. Yeah, and there's a name to it, but I can't remember what it is called. Yeah, and probably this is the same when people are seeing something in the skies that they have never seen before. They don't recognize it. Yeah, because there's no imprint in your brain to compare it with something else. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like we need to record that in our mind, so that way we say, okay, hopefully I'll see it again, or I will have something to compare it with, not just disregard it, you know. Oh gosh, I was going to say something and let me have my channel back. Sorry, I forgot. But Susan or Tom, do you have any questions, or do you want to chime in anything?
Well, I think it's important to realize, I want to encourage people that I always say, leave all the puzzle pieces on the table, don't negate anything. And that way we will be able to put the picture together in time. There's a large society that people aren't aware of, a large segment of society like myself, that we consider ourselves watchers and listeners. And so our faith is fluid. We're able to see what's going on, but we don't stand out. A lot of people try to stand out. And if you're busy talking, it's hard to actually listen. But I would say if you hear, like the one thing that just hit me totally was this: how many beings are on board the ship? How would anybody know? And why would they crowd the ship unless it's an invasion force? I don't receive that. But I would say to people, just be okay. If you don't have to believe everything you're told, you can still silently go, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to keep looking. I won't negate it, but that doesn't make sense. You don't have to receive the narrative that's being told you. You can open it up to there are other possibilities, because that all my logic circuits went no. So it's okay to question. It's okay to say, even if people are pushing their authority, it doesn't mean they're right. So we need to be open to all possibilities, all puzzle pieces on the table, but people should not be herded down a road, even in the truth community, to believe something because somebody says it and pushes to say it. We need to be open to all the other voices and all the other possibilities, including our own inner voice. What's possible? Do not let yourself be shut down. It's what the cabal does. Anyway, if that makes any sense, that's my two pieces.
Yes, Tom, thank you. And you, Susan?
There's a lot of positive ETs. I've heard a couple different things about who's on this ship. I've also heard it's the Mater, and they're on their way to fight the giants. And that's an ancient war. And the only time we see giants is when one's been excommunicated and they push him up to the surface. So they're not supposedly after us, but both of these species also eat humans. So, but I would try not to be in fear, because I feel more like it's a science ship, to be honest. But I hope they're not coming to, do experiments on us. Let's put it that way.
I saw, and I made a video on it because Susan and I were talking about this because Miles Johnson from the Basis Project, which we met in Florida, disclosure now, thank you, Brian. He was saying, alert now, alarm, alarm. He was like telling us that something was coming right before all the ship thing. And then David Morrow, the Super Soldiers, pretty much gave us a message, but without saying much. he kept saying, I don't want to say anything, but something's major. So I had a dream that night that the giants, and I told Marcel too, that the giants were showing me their ship. They were showing me their ships. And then one of the giants, yes, I want you to stand up, Marcel, because you're so tall. And one of the giants was showing, after he showed me the pictures of all of the giants, actually, it was, he was showing me a picture of a female with 2 cats sleeping on a bed. And I'm like, are you guys spying on me? He says, we're watching you. We're always watching you. I said, interesting. And so I saw 4 ships that were coming, that were here. And it just, it's very interesting. Susan and I were talking and we said, you know what, we can't get involved in this problem, in this war, because it's the Nephilims against pretty much these other beings. However, Susan said, hey, well, if it involves hurting humans, then we have to get involved. And I said, heck yeah, we'll get involved.
Yeah, I had a dream too. But I was sitting on my porch swing in Iowa, and I was watching the mater chase meth heads down the street. So I was laughing and smoking out there on a, and I was basically told the supers aren't supposed to get involved unless they start coming for the good people. So I guess there are certain people that are taken out. Yeah, if they're gonna do a population reduction, who are you gonna get rid of first? All the drug addicts and the homeless people, probably.
Well, Susan and guys, what happened after? Remember, even Tom, I told Tom, and I don't think Susan was on, it was Soma that was on 2 weeks ago, and I said, look, they just took out Charlie Kirk. And I didn't know who Charlie was.
I didn't either.
I started,
I didn't know who he was either. I had to follow him after he was killed to find out what he was about.
Right, but to me, when I saw, this is my feeling. This is only me. When I just don't believe it. When I saw the actual, when she wouldn't show her face, the wife wouldn't show the face kissing his hands in the casket. To me, it was like a mono. A mono in Spanish, English is I don't know how to say it in English, but it just felt like it was fake. Okay, to me, this whole thing was fake to me, just like the Floyd thing. I'm sorry, but I just feel it's a false flag as well.
If your husband was killed, how are you going to get up there and do these things within a week? I was widowed 30 years ago, and I was messed up for a year. Like, I couldn't have people bring him up or I'd start crying. And I don't know how she's about the same age I was when I became a widow. I don't know how she's going out doing this stuff without breaking down. It doesn't make sense. It's like, did you like Charlie? Is this? So I've been looking, I'm like, that's bullshit. But there's something wrong with it. And I feel that, especially watching her, and I'm like, this is so fake. How is she getting up there? And even her tears seem like crocodile tears. Look, I'm freaking glowing again. It's just, it doesn't sit right with me.
You may be onto something, because the tactic that's often employed is to separate the husband and wife and the family, break them up first, and then destroy the husband. It's like what they do. They try to separate you from any support system. It's called sourcing. And that's what the agencies do. So they separate, alienate you, then they destroy you. And often we'll have people turn on you. So to be happily married and have this kind of unfold this way, and no prior threats or thing. I mean, as far as trying to work on splitting the relationship, like they did with Martin Luther King, the agencies tried to split up that relationship. So they try to destroy your home first before they destroy the man or destroy the woman. So you may be onto something. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm leaving the pieces on the table, like I said, but there are things to support you on this.
All the people that I know that have been married once are divorced now. It's not a joke. Yeah. There's
You're the
only
easiest
one.
target. You're the easiest target when you're single. They can haul you off. Yeah.
It's only one of my friends that is still married. From all of my friends, all the others are divorced. Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm usually safer when I'm single. It's like when I'm paired up, that's usually a handler.
Usually so. I agree with you completely. I've had that same experiences, but they don't want any witnesses. That's what the big thing is. No witnesses. Otherwise, a handler, yes, then they can control the inside the homes. You're absolutely right. It is dangerous.
The most hideous spiritual warfare. It's absolutely grotesque, and I'm so glad that's been on for 2.5 years because, yeah, I want, never mind.
No, it's
But,
important. Keep talking. That's important. You're onto something.
well, dressed up as my twin flame and divine counterpart, and he was totally the opposite of me, where I've been, um, arresting pedophiles when that was my career, all these bad guys that were hurting the women and children. And I went into that career because I had been attacked and the police didn't take me seriously. And I was like, F this, I'm going to go be a better cop. So I would go wallpaper these mofos with that were, taking advantage of the downtrodden and stuff. That really pisses me off when you go after somebody that's weaker than you, or smaller than you in stature and everything. You're not even fighting in the same weight class. I think that's grotesque. And yeah. And I noticed that before 9/11 they got rid of a lot of the psychic cops in one way or another. Like, oh yeah, I remember talking to John DeSouza about that. He's like, yeah, they wanted us all gone because the kids were having dreams and they didn't want us to say, hey, that's legit. Something's happening.
True.
Did you get a sense too about the children on Maui then, Susan? Did you get a sense on that? Because they're saying they're all accounted for now except for 8, but anything?
Oh, you give me chills. The 8 that are still missing are related to Hawaiian royalty, is what I just heard. Because I remember when I got kidnapped and they took me out of time, they would mock me and say, "Go ahead and pray to your God now. Look how weak your God is. He won't help you." And then I'd have ET showing up to help, which I called my angels, my blue people.
Well, I'm sending a message to Kamaka. Kamaka is supposed to be on my show. Her name is Kamaka Big Blade Pahinui. She's in Hawaii, okay? And she's always posting about things, but she's afraid to come on the show because she can be hurt.
That's actually my son's middle name. Did you know that? Kamaka?
What?
Kamaka Okalani is my son's middle name because a Hawaiian elder gave it to him when we were on Maui.
Oh my
It
gosh.
means eyes of heaven.
I love it.
Kamaka
Wow,
Okalani.
goosebumps.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling me. So
Yeah.
I sent a message to Kamaka, and she would be the one to know, as far as because she's there, Yes, we know that most of the children that go missing, they use the O negative bloodline a lot. Okay, and I will go ahead and share a video that someone shared saying that the royalty, what they do is they take, whoever the kids are going to be using super soldier program or Hollywood, whatever, right? Those that are pretty much, I'm just going to share the video because it's what happens is half of the blood that they take, they curse, they say, and then they put it into big pharma and fast food. The other half of the blood, which is refined, they refine the blood, they use it for themselves. So it's a very tough subject, but a lot of kids are still going missing. I don't agree with these I don't know if I should call them right wingers, but the love and light community, the QAnon that says, oh, that has been shut down. Clinton it's no more. Yeah, she's still around. And yeah, she and her husband are still EEDOs. Yeah. You can't believe these. Anyway, I'm getting off of subject. Marcel.
Well, yeah, they're part of the sex and death cult. They used to have those sex parties at their place in Arkansas.
Exactly.
And that's a big thing out here in Iowa because they have the biggest, witch cults and stuff out here. And that's part of their Luciferian cults. They're it's a sex and death cult. all
That's
it
why
is.
the religious right people, evangelicals, need to realize the religious right is all about sex cult. It's all about sex cult and sex. It was explained to me by the guy that roofied me when I was there. He's like all about, the parties and everything else, which is it's Luciferian. It's not any kind of holy thing at all. So religious right is really the religious right. It's unbelievable what they do, and they brag about it. So
And then even that guy who tried to sell himself as my divine counterpart, I found out, I didn't realize until a year after I kicked him out, that he was into these sex party things too. And he's a parasite and a warlock. So anybody who's unaware, who thinks they're just going to have fun, which I don't know why running in front of other people is fun. That's pretty grotesque to me. These witches and warlocks and stuff are stealing your loosh, and people are so naive, they don't realize that. And there's a whole bunch of 70 IQ people out here in Iowa that are participating in that unwittingly. Yeah, it's grotesque. I can't wait to leave Sodom and Gomorrah.
Exactly. Thank you, Susan and Tom. Marcel, do you see that going on in where you are as far as what we're talking about here, this subject?
No, but I wanted to say something about John Seifert, because you mentioned him, and she also, back a couple of years ago, they closed down the Sun Observatory in the United States. Yeah, don't know if you are aware of that. Yeah, it's been maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
What did they close? I'm sorry.
They evacuated the Sun Observatory. I can't remember which one it was.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
Yes, evacuated. And I was writing to John, and telling him, hey, John, they evacuated the Sun Observatory. And he said, oh, that's fake news. And a couple of hours later, he came up with, oh, no, that's the truth. Because my research, I'm always first. Because I'm online 18 hours a day, and I'm reading or watching lectures 18 hours a day. So I was way in front of him, and for sure he couldn't believe that. He couldn't believe that, but it was fact. They evacuated not only the Sun Observatory, but the whole houses around. Yeah, because it's placed on some kind of a mountain or hill. Yeah. And they were all gone. They all disappeared out of their houses. Yeah, and the whole facility was abandoned. Was abandoned within a day.
Yes.
Yeah. I still don't know what's been the reason. Yeah, it's not been a virus or anything else. Yeah, but this really happened. It really happened.
I think it's because they didn't want the public to see the ships that we can see going through the sun, because the sun is a wormhole, a portal. That's how we come through existence. I always saw myself as a shooting star coming through the sun, being born here. Now they did close here as well in Ajo, Cells, Arizona. They had a Lucifer. They had the big telescope on top of the mountain, and for the longest time they closed it down. I don't know if it's up, but I went there before they closed it down, and they said, "Oh, this is Saturn." And you look through the telescope, big telescope, and it's a white planet with white rings, and it look fake. It's like, what? It just does not make, to me, it did not resonate as a planet, which I have been there when the programs, but just the way they present things to us like children, like, and yes, we are children, which is a good thing. We just have this avatar that grows up. But what I'm saying is we know when they're trying to lie to us. And then that's the whole art of war coming together and trying to like Tom said, pull apart the family and the kids and things like that. But Marcel is single, ladies. I just have to throw that out there.
I also wanted to say something about the 3-eye atlas object. Yeah, it's not only this one that's coming. It's another one they detected. Yeah, that is 100 times larger, by the name of R2 Swan. Yeah, or R25 Swan. Yeah, And so they are going to meet both of these, one of these objects coming from this direction, and the other one is coming from another direction, and they both are going to meet behind the sun around the 29th of October. Yeah. So I don't believe that there's millions of people, millions of creatures on these three atlas, because for this it's way too
Thank
small.
you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, it kind of seemed kind of weird, right?
It doesn't
saw
sound
four-
possible.
I know.
We have this professor from Harvard, Avi Loeb, coming up now again with his it is an alien ship, and okay, it has some things that we have never seen before. It's the fastest object passing us, yeah, that we've ever seen. It's about 130,000 kilometers fast, yeah. The other ones were way slower, but it must be really tiny people if millions of them would fit into this little object.
Yeah.
Unless they do it like they do in the movie Jupiter, where they have for one round thing, it's 3 beams.
Yeah.
Unless they do it that way.
I think it's best to go back to the drawing board and say, someone's spinning something. Let's go back to logic. Because it's like if you use the cave, like we're all in a cave, you don't want to follow the person screaming, follow them deeper in the cave. You want to find the exit, follow the people that are thinking it through. So that is not the way out of the cave, down with the millions on the, oh, God help us all. So I would say start again and look for the actual entrance of people using logic. Anyway, yeah, we cannot latch on to ridiculous. Anyway,
Yeah,
so I'm just going to say it.
It just doesn't, I don't know. But like I said, I saw 4 ships. So Marcel just brought the second one up. Hopefully
but he tickled me. I love that he said it. I was so grateful. Thank you, brother. And I want to point something out too is, I love that you said that. You made me laugh too. I would say Venus. In our solar system, Russia was so fixated on Venus. Why doesn't everybody ever talk about Venus? I mean, Venus looks like it would have been an Earth, and it had what, a greenhouse or something. And they always give us a show on Venus, like nothing to see there, nothing to see there, and it looks beautiful. I mean, just from our perspective, it looks gorgeous. I mean, I was like, why is the show like, don't look over here, look over there, look over there? I mean, I would love to know more about Venus, because it looks like it has a purpose, and USSR was sure exploring it over and over, even after every failure. And
With the Soviet Union, they were sending a probe to Venus back in the 60s. Yeah, in the 60s.
And they never gave up. They never gave up. They kept sending more and more and more. So
it's way closer to us than Mars is. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is people there.
It makes me wonder that they are not going more often to Venus, because it's way closer than Mars. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has more potential, I believe. I may be wrong, but as far as terraforming the worlds, Mars just, I don't know if you're going to make it on Mars. Radiation, no protective electromagnetic. It's like, that's going to be a nightmare if you want to live underground and try to survive that way. But I don't see that place being terraformed. It seems like it's just, you'd have to create a whole nother atmosphere or magnetic field around it. It's a dead planet right now, basically, for all intents and purposes, according to NASA.
They were living underground.
Underground's the only way you can do it. Underground.
Exactly. And they have a biosphere there. They have a biosphere in Venus.
On Venus, right? Venus has an atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, if you're looking to inhabit a planet or turn it around, wouldn't there be a possibility? I don't know. NASA may be cringing at me right now, NASA scientists, but they say they're fans of my work. But I would like to pass it to them, saying, look, is there a possibility more with Venus than Mars?
But remember, NASA is part of they're not going to tell us the truth, okay? Why did they close the NASA? Why did the Apollo shut down? Because they were working on other Black projects. We know
but
that.
there's really good people there too that will contact me after a show, and they'll be like, yeah, like that thing they're sending into space I was told about is so cool. Oh my God, like this guy wrote The Matrix. I'm like, thank you guys. But the thing is, like, there are good people, and you have like these guys that are actual engineers with NASA. They're focused on answering things, not coming up with plots and ploys. Maybe the guys at the top would, but the guys that are actually doing the piecing together for the capsules and things like that are not going to be your shadow government people. They're going to be guys that want to see how to figure out problems and are very focused on the mission and the problem of how do I get a capsule to function? How do I get a lander to rove? It's like that's what they're going to be doing. So they don't have the mentality really to be far-reaching thoughts of control the planet like, Biggie in the brain. But as far as the head guys, yeah, they could be having nefarious thoughts and plans, but they're not letting their not underlings, those that are actually scientists know what's going on. I think we need to get that picture that some of your brightest people are employed because they want to provide for their families, and they're not planning to end the world. It's these guys that are at the top that do that. And so when they call, they're actually good people. They're nice people. It's the ones that control the show, the guys behind the curtain.
The bankers in space. Hey, Tom, that would be great if you can have them on the show. That would be awesome.
Well, next time they call, I'll ask them. Yeah. So yeah. Usually after a big event like Roseanne's thing or something, I'll get a call and I'll be a NASA guy. But I wanted to pass this to Marcus too. Is like the one guy called me. Did I say your name right? Because I don't see the name tag. Okay.
Marcel.
Okay, Marcel. Sorry about that. You were very patient and kind to let me butcher your name like that. Okay, so anyway, thank you. What a gentleman. So anyway, I got this call, and I don't know if I said this before, but he shared that the biggest concern of the NASA pool of scientists, some of them, was that the problems would be figured out. There'd be nothing else to live for because nothing else to try to understand. All answers would be provided, and they didn't want that. I'm like, wow, okay. And from the other, like a visionary standpoint, I shared, well, look, as the writer, there's never going to be a running out of a stimulus in our lives. There's always going to be something that we can create that will lift people and bring them together and stimulate their minds. Don't worry about that. So we had an interesting meeting of the minds, the scientist and the writer. But yeah, so I just want to say that a shout out to some of the NASA guys that are actually hardworking and trying to advance humanity. Not part of the agenda. They're not part of the agenda. We never hear that, but I think we need to realize that.
Yeah,
that got silence.
I wanted to say something else. It's not only this Atlas, 3i Atlas coming and these swarm objects, there's a whole fleet of comets coming now. so to say, yeah, it's many in the next couple of weeks or months that are coming. Yeah, so it's a whole swarm on its way.
The meteorites, right? The meteor showers. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's comets. Yeah, it's comets. This 3i Atlas is an interstellar object. It's only flying through our solar system, yeah, and never to be seen again. Like this Oumuamua and this Borisov that we had before, yeah. But now they found out that this one object that is way larger has an orbit around the sun, but it's a very long orbit at approximately 22,500 years. Yeah.
Are you talking about the Planet X thing? The planet was somehow thrown out of orbit and it's just like a huge orbit?
Is that the one you're talking about? Nibiru, because there's three things going on. There's Nibiru, and there's Wormwood, and then the 3i Atlas. Now the 318 Atlas, I'll say it right one day. They said that's going to be around till 2028 on Earth atmosphere. Okay, now it's your guys' turn. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm still messed up on the Jill Biden walking kids in because she was one of my teachers in high school. And then she was teaching at Delaware Community College. But yeah.
That's right next to where I was born. That's weird. Delaware Community College? That's bizarre.
Yeah. So Biden's wife was your teacher?
Jill Biden.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
What do you teach? Home ec?
Jill did. Did she teach sociology? I can't remember. Was it math?
Maybe he taught.
I can't remember.
Equilibrium. He had trouble standing up.
But yeah, that just made me think she had a lot of access to children.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the Queen Elizabeth. Nobody believes that they would go down to South Africa or wherever the heck they wanted to get all these kids, and then the kids would never be seen
again. They can get them right from the U.S. The U.S. Yeah, they get them right from the U.S.
Yeah.
And Michael Jaco was talking about that, how they were supposed to be escorts for taking the kids to the White House and stuff. So the agencies were involved with escorting them there. And people don't realize they're not haggard kids showing up. They're well dressed, scrubbed clean, very polite manners, and they have no idea that what they're doing is raw or off color or bad for them. They are groomed to do what they're doing. So they've got pretty kids that are escorted in by the agents. And that's what we're talking about.
Come on, let's just say it. Sex slaves. I've had a dream where I was with a king and a queen in the bed, and they were doing things to me, and then I was supposed to wash her brushes and put her makeup on. I was only 15 in this dream. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, you just hit something so important. Like you hit something so important. It's like why throughout the ages, like King Henry VIII's time and everything else, back in biblical times, whatever, why was it okay for kings and queens to sleep with children? It's like and take whoever they want from the kingdom and sleep with them. It's like because they want the king and the queen happy. It's like it doesn't make sense. Something's wrong with humanity if that's what make them happy. And it's like throughout the ages they've done this. This is as old as prostitution.
But it's not humanity. It comes from the reptilians, supposedly, and these other beings. Some of the Anunnaki too are at fault. It's not just the reptilians. And then it's like these spirits that attach. Like, for example, they say that when you drink alcohol, right? The king of alcohol, I see like a pyramid, and it's like, okay, you got the beer, you got the whiskey, you got the bourbon, you got this and this and that, the wine. So there's a hierarchy of spirits. Why do you think people black out? Because that spirit goes in there. So I'm thinking that's the same thing with this whole pedophilia thing. It comes down from, that. I'm going to take a 2-minute break. Marcel, go ahead, and Tom, I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Take a break.
No, you guys keep talking. We're still live. I can't stop it. Okay. We're still live.
No,
Marcel, go ahead, Tom. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, too, I was going to add this, that we make all these laws. And it's interesting that, I don't know, it's anal retention or something. All these laws are made, but yet prostitution will thrive and pedophilia thrives. And it's like they make the laws because they feel they have to make the laws, but the ones that are supposed to enforce the laws are guilty of abusing the laws because they love it. So it's like until the love for it goes away, you're not going to resolve the crimes. You're going to keep it being more and more covertly done and find ways to make it happen at the highest levels where they're never accounted for. And then the law agencies are actually covering for it being done rather than addressing it because they don't want to address it. So then they address it among the lower end of the population they consider under them, but not at the higher. It's like the Victorian period where they said like you're expected to have affairs, but just don't show that to the common people. So they had affairs in Victorian society that we thought was prudish. So it's never ever gone away. In Joseph Stalin's, Russia or Soviet Union, it was like he was one of the worst offenders and partiers of ever in the world. And it's like, and he's supposed to be the Communist Party where they were purging this kind of what they called corruption, but he was partaking of it constantly. So it's like, the world leaders are involved in all this stuff. They're ushering kids around. It's not going to change until the love for it goes away, and I don't know the answer to that.
And then, like, how come they can't track any of these people? Because here I am, and I got a football jersey on, and I look, and this pop-up comes up from YouTube. Oh, do you want to join this NFL package? But you can listen to me, and because you're watching me on a YouTube thing, it's sending me that. But you can't find any of these missing children. And I also kind of wonder, because, women weren't in policing that much till I was a cop from 1990 to 2003. And a lot of these smaller agencies, I think, had to change their ways when they let women in. So I think a lot of this stuff went deeper, because if you get the mothers in there, they're not going to put up with that stuff. And there's going to be women cops going missing and being unalived and things like that, because I think this is more of a male than, or they feel entitled to have whatever they want. And this is people with the Nephilim bloodlines and the Luciferians and your Satanists.
You just made me think of this too. Then go ahead. Sorry, sis. Go ahead.
And then they believe that it gives them extra power if they're raping little boys and hijacking their Kundalini, And that's how they do a lot of these rituals. So yeah.
I had a feeling too. It just occurred to me it's going to be way out there, but I thought since we're trusting this right now, that the problem never goes away because we give into the problem and allow it to fester by looking the other way often. It's like women wearing makeup. It's like by wearing makeup, they still are under what the men have prescribed. Or is that women, did the women make that happen? It's like it seems like it's the man needs the woman to please them kind of old archaic thought. And so they have to look pretty. But does the guy have to look pretty? Guys look rugged. It's like I think that in the future, maybe women won't be wearing makeup. They'll be like, hey, I'm natural, deal with it. I really believe we maybe will head that way because it seems like it's part of that archaic system of they have to look a certain way to please the man. And it's embedded in them from childhood up that they're supposed to please the man. Hollywood pushes it too, and then the horror of the part of this that goes for belong or past this is that in dance, in film, and acting, women are considered have a career lifespan that's not as long, by and large, for certain film roles and things like this because of aging, where men can play roles forever because they'll call them the silver fox, things like that. It's a lot of pressure on a woman to appear a certain way for as long as they can to please the man. Really, is where it's coming from. And then women will argue that they do it for other women, but I think essentially it came from trying to please the man because men had control over women. Even in the Bible, they were controlling them as basically a subservient. So I just want to put that out there as that seems to be part of the problem and especially if you pretty up your children all the time, like they put makeup on young girls, I mean, it's like in a pedophile world, I don't think that's the best thing to do. Let them just have a natural childhood. Anyway, I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah, I remember, what was it, 13 girls started wearing some makeup. So my mom took me to go get my makeup done. That's such a tomboy. It's like, I don't like this base stuff. It itches. I don't like
Good for
this.
you. Good
Like
for you.
that. So I just put on some blush and some mascara and eyeliner once in a while. But I didn't like all the other stuff. And I called those women plastic fantastics. But those were the chicks that got all the attention, but I was always like quieter and book smart and
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. I think in the future, the men and the women will wear maybe a little blush, something else if they want to equally. I don't think there's going to be a division on you have to look prettier than me. I think we're going to just be balanced out and just, I hope, natural at some point where we just are happy with the way we are, our poor children, what they've been indoctrinated with, to walk out that door. The pressure at junior high for kids going into junior high where they don't look a certain way, they could face all kinds of horrors and put upon and put downs and things like that. Hopefully it's going to change where we wise up and get rid of the old stupid system where women are supposed to please us.
Reminds me of my dad. I remember, what was it, in the 70s where I think butts were popular. Oh no, long hair. And he's like, oh, well, he's like, during the 70s, long hair is popular and I'm bald, so I didn't make that. And he's like, in the 90s, butts became popular. He's like, I got no butt either. So he's like, I miss all these trends. And then they push these trends so that you'll go buy these fake boobs that gives you breast implant illness, and screw up your immune system. And now it's the BBLs. And they're still putting those same implants in the butts they made the women sick, put them in their breasts. So, yeah. And
Barry Manilow had the butt padding to make his butt look nicer. It's like so stupid. It's like, and then if you get married, it's like you don't have any secrets when you get married, so you might as well show the real deal. Like, here's what you're getting.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What you get what you see. Hey, real quick, thank you, Tom and everyone. Marcel. So what do you see over there? Do you see a lot of this, Kim Kardashian fake stuff with the women? Do you see any like fights over there? Pedophile? How is Germany right now? I know we talked a little bit about that stuff the last time, but how is life over there?
Belonging to the subject that we were just talking about a while ago, they were thinking about putting school children into school uniforms again, so that they look all evil and that nobody will be ridiculed because he's got no access to this Boss and Lacoste and Nike and other expensive stuff, So, but it's gone to the sand, so to say. It's not in a discussion anymore, because in other countries we still have this school uniform for this reason, yeah, that the kids will not be ridiculed by other kids because of their clothes, yeah.
I think it's
So you
good.
get
I agree.
China, for example, and I guess in the elementary school in the UK, this is also still the case. If I'm correct, they're still wearing their school uniforms, yeah, to avoid these things.
I know here in Arizona, well, in Tucson, they had uniforms in junior high, and then all of a sudden they could wear whatever they wanted, and that was, I think that's more for them to go shopping and for the economy, and
I
also
agree.
to see into their body, you know, get the trend of these transvestites and Kardashian propaganda, and it's all a propaganda here. Do you see a lot of propaganda over there too in Germany, or I don't know if you guys spoke about it. I couldn't hear anything while I was gone. Sorry.
As you know, in the past, we had the masters of propaganda. Yeah, that's where the word is coming from. That's where the word is coming from. And especially what happened in the last 5 years. Yeah, what happened in the last 5 years? We have seen brainwashing and propaganda like never before. Never before. Yeah, it's been worse than 80 years ago. Yeah.
I have a question for you too. Then, in Germany, is there still a feeling among the youth that they're being pressed upon, like an accountability for World War II feeling? It seems like the world never let it go, and the films and everything we watch seem to. Is there a feeling sort of like still guilt pressed down when they shouldn't even be experiencing that?
Yeah, that's what we were taught. That's what we were taught, that we are guilty for the rest of our lives, no more or less. Because what these Nazis did in the past, yeah, but there were thousands and thousands of other wars on other places before and afterwards as well, yeah, as well. When we see what happened.
Does anybody point to the U.S.? Does anybody point to the U.S. and say, "Look, the U.S. has done worse than us recently"? Or
last time we were discussing about our party, the AfD, yeah, and on mainstream TV they are now also invited to speak, yeah, and they asked one of these politicians in these shows, but do you agree that Putin is a war criminal? Yeah? But then he said it's not on me to decide to decide this, yeah. And what about all the American presidents that were fighting wars again all over the world and all the time in the last couple of decades, yeah, decades, yeah. Oh no, this is a different question. I was asking you about Putin, yeah, about Putin. So. But his answer was correct, because the U.S. has been fighting that many wars for reasons for stuff that they made up. Yes, it's just like weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, for example. Yeah, and they didn't find any. They didn't find any. So they were just.
Yeah.
If there is no reason for war, yeah, they're coming up with a fake event, or they're making stuff up, yeah, to invade other countries.
They didn't want to tell anybody they were after the Stargate. Their leader there was powering up the Stargate and inviting the Anunnaki back, and the U.S. got upset and said, "Hell to the no, you're not doing that." So they made up a lie so they could go in. Which I think that story sounds more legit than weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
The same with the Korean War also. The U.S. claimed that the Koreans bombed one of their ships. Yeah, but it was
Vietnam War. Yeah, the Vietnam War with
they bombed one of their ships, but it never happened. Yeah, they were just searching for a reason to go into war.
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
That's with many other. I mean, many other wars as well. The second World War started because a German train was attacked by soldiers from Poland. Yeah, but actually it's been German soldier in Polish uniforms that attacked our train on their own. It's the reason for because the Second World War started, because the Germans then claimed, oh yeah, Poland has attacked one of our trains, but it's been German soldiers in Polish uniforms, yeah, who are attacking. So
I something came to me too. I'm going to say it right now because it was on my heart yesterday and it bothered me. Was the monument in Berlin to the Russian soldiers, and it's like the T-34 tanks on display at this big monument, and it's like, and they said that in Berlin the women call it the monument to the rapists because they just raped all these women, and they have this monument there with these T-34 tanks. I don't know if it's been removed yet, but it should not be there. That's like putting a monument up in Nanking. You know, it's like in where the Japanese raped all those women during that time. It doesn't seem like that should be there. And I think a lot, but Germans a lot of times seem to be very quiet or patient with injustice done to them. Doesn't that sound weird? But that's the truth. That's how it was. That's how Hitler was able to take advantage of it because they were, you know, they would tolerate the most horrible measures implemented on them, which led to World War II. But I think this monument, if you look it up, that's unfair. It's unfair that this thing is right there in the heart of their city when it was just a rape fest for, you know, hundreds of thousands of women. And it needs to go. It needs to go. It needs to be, they should let people demolish it with sledgehammers and have a release and do that, I thought.
yeah, one of our leftists politicians came up with a phrase a while ago, because we have many, like I told you, we have now many German women raped by these immigrants. Yeah, it's in the thousands now. Yeah, it's not now, it's in a couple of thousands. Yeah, and one of these left politicians came up with the life of a woman that was raped don't have to be worse. It's just different. Imagine this. Yeah.
We need a bunch of grandmothers to be in charge of the political scene in these different countries to set it straight. We need somebody who's not working off their hormones, you know, and that's what even Roseanne Barr was talking about, a council of, you know, elders that are grandmothers. We need to switch it around to get order back. It's like they've been looking the other way for so long on hormone-based decisions, you know, and it's just, it's wrong. It's wrong. Guys had their chance.
Tom, you muted yourself before you ended. Guys, what?
I said guys had their chance, and it's like we've been running this planet for a long time, and I think it's time to, like, I like Roseanne Barr's ideas. Let grandmothers do it. Let the grandmothers decide policies. You know, it's like, you know, anyway.
Works for me. I volunteer, but I will be very harsh with.
That's okay. Just knock the T-34s down in Berlin, and I'd be happy for starts. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and you know, it's just them saying "ha ha," laughing at our faces, saying, you know, and I do not consent on that.
Yeah, and I also feel like it's like, why do the women have to pay for the crimes of the men? We're always paying for the freaking crimes of the men, and I'm sick of it. How would you like to be raped, you know, for your crimes? And yeah, it's still happening today. I can't believe that we're in 2025 and we're still talking about rape crimes. I mean, I thought we were supposed to be civilized by now. Where's
those of us guys that were raped, you know, we understand. So,
Sorry.
And it's like, but it should be that men would understand it without having to go through that. They'd understand it. And that's why I can speak the way I do. You know, I know what it's like. And a lot of it's about being powerless and no rights, and you have nothing you can do about it, and it'll be shut down, and they're going to wave in your face, and you're going to make you the bad person and blame you. And it's like, it's been going on for so long, it needs to turn around now. So,
yeah, but you're forced to have some you know, invader's child that you don't want to have, you know?
Yes.
But it's also genocide. We forget about the genocide stuff. These men come in and they rape, and then you have a whole nother species there. You know?
Yeah, it's been going back all the way even before the Persians and the Arabs. Now they're doing it through the baby Jabberwocky. Now they're changing the genders. Now they're, I told a lot of people, hey, autism comes from the, David Jabberwocky since we were given since birth. And my mom didn't believe me. And now it's coming out because Trump said it. It's like, okay, just use your intuition, like with the polio shot. Oh, the epilepsy. Even in Mexico, I grew up with a neighbor who was gay, and the parents didn't want him to be gay, so they would give him the David Jabberwockies, the thing, and then to try and change him into, being more of a man. A lot of people say, well, you're born with it. Excuse me, it's what they give you when you're born.
If you control, yeah, I was just thinking too, if you control the media and Hollywood, things like that, you can control the way. What was it? Goering? Was it Goebbels that said about, he can turn the population to swine, give me, if he control the media. It's like, so what can change our world is the stories not being buried anymore and brought out. So no wonder they go so hard on writers and artists and try to shut you down. Stalin did it, Hitler did it, America does it currently. They're shutting down any word out or any good story, and then appropriating those stories, like Joel Silver said from Warner Brothers. He doesn't create art; he attains art. So what you're seeing is they take control of good stories and spin it the way they want. We really are a dead society, dead poet society. We need to have our stories reactivated and have the stories that have been buried brought out without the government controlling it. And then you can change the way, and you'll see people go, finally, somebody said it. I mean, that's how I feel. If you get them crying at a story and realizing and introspecting themselves, then you're going to have people change the way they think. The power of a good story should never be underestimated. And we got to free up that telling by freeing the media and freeing Hollywood away from their control that they do with the agencies. That's why the agencies have them control it. And Germany's been subject to our own agencies, like we discussed before, and made into a second America, or under us, a colony, basically. And it'd be nice to see them lead the way, get free up in a good way, So I hope they can.
Thank you. That's why we need Marcel to write his book, Tom, and I know, Susan, you're still writing yours. That's why I have this channel, because I want people to come up here and tell their story. Every time I meet someone, hey, how are you? And I get to know a little bit about their story. They just start talking. I said, do you want to be on my show? No judgment. We're just here to talk, because I want you to know that you're special. Like your story is important too.
You
right,
have
Marcel?
a golden heart, Veronica. You have a golden heart. We all know it. And it's like you create a safe place for the stories to come forward. And that's something you will always be remembered for. You do that. You've created something where we are not silenced. We can speak. And that's huge.
Thank you. Thank you. I just don't want anybody to be forgotten. I think everybody's important and special. So, Marcel, I have to go in 15 minutes. Would you like to speak?
I thought the subject today would be the SSP, but we haven't been talking much about it, so we got to do another show, I guess. I gotta do. So,
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, so you don't have any memories of being in the secret space program or anything like that?
No.
Oh, wow.
No. All the ones that I've heard that have memories from being in the secret space program are people in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And okay, we've got UFO sightings all around this planet. There's something coming to my mind about this 3R3B. Yeah, we had mass UFO sightings over the country of Belgium in 1989. Yeah, and it's been ongoing for 9 months or 10 months, almost a year. Yeah, where this triangular object appeared. Yeah. And having mostly it's been reported having a red dot in the middle at the bottom, yeah. And so to me it looks like that it's been the United States with one of their TR3B testing us in Europe, because the British Air Force was chasing these objects, yeah, yeah. But when they came close, the TR-3B speeded up, speeded up within a second. It jumped from a few hundred miles fast to a few thousand, yeah. So they never were able to reach it, yeah, because it's always been faster when they came closer, yeah. It speeded up, and it's been official sightings, yeah, and it's been reported by the chief of the Belgium military, yeah, Mr. Brouwer, Mr. Brouwer. So and it's been ongoing for months. So it's like I said, it's been in 1989. So that's also a long time ago, and it's been ongoing for almost 100 of years, and it's been seen by hundreds and hundreds of people. Yeah. Yeah, they were calling the police and stuff, and there's an object above our house, above the city. So yeah.
Do you get the sense that this recent disclosure, relatively recent disclosure, has been publicized in the U.S., where different military have been allowed to speak about sightings now, very limitedly, but to bring it forward, that the U.S. does not want to leave or lose the control of this topic and doesn't want to have anyone else supersede them or take charge of what's released. Do you think that's why they did a limited release of like, yes, UFOs are real, and that's what these military were allowed to show on a panel in front of Congress people? Is it? Do you think that's what it is? That the only reason that was done was possibly mainly to have the U.S. keep control of the narrative?
Yeah, yeah, that's one of the reasons, and all these talks that are now ongoing in the U.S. Congress. Yeah, until now I have never heard something about secret bases on Mars. Yeah, nothing about that. Then saying nothing about the secret space program. Yeah, because this is also one of the major reasons why they are not disclosing all this stuff, because they want to hide the fact that we are already out there for decades, yeah, that we've got bases not only on Mars but probably on other planets as well. Also on this dwarf planet by the name of Ceres, yeah. Probably also bases, and I'm still waiting for the first whistleblowers in the U.S. Congress coming up with this subject, because nobody is talking about that. They're talking about, yeah, we've got crashed UFO retrievals, and probably we've got alien bodies, yeah, and alien technology, but they're still hiding the fact that we are already out there. Because what are we doing with this back engineered technology and crafts? We are going out there. We are not flying around here from on this planet only. Because if you've got the possibility to go elsewhere, they're doing it. They're doing it for sure. Yeah.
And one of the things they were disclosing that they did allow to be said, but they kept saying, we'll talk about it in the skiff, which is the private, away from anybody knowing in the public. It was so infuriating hearing how many times we'll talk in the skiff. It's like, you guys are potheads. And yeah, but they were saying how the corporations, different jet corporations and such, have the technology apart from Congress and the government. So it's like the corporations are the ones that are benefiting from the agencies off of the tech. And that, I don't feel good about a corporation having all the knowledge. It's like that is one of the worst situations, because they can, if they're based on greed and economics and things like that, and they can do anything they want with this kind of power, that's just unbridled probably. That's a scary thought, that we're heading to corporations have more power than any other governance. It's going to be, we're heading right to what they've talked about, the corporate run.
There are rumors that these Tic Tac UFOs, these Tic Tacs, that this is a product from Bigelow Airspace. Yeah. So I always doubted that these are objects from extraterrestrials. Yeah, it's from their own. It's from their own secret projects, but the military and the government has no knowledge of all of this. Yeah, it's not. It's just starting now. Yeah, all the politicians, they were hiding they kept hiding in the dark and by the deep state, by the shadow government, because they are the ones who are running the show. It's not Donald Trump and the Republicans or Joe Biden and his Democrats. Yeah, the United States is run by the shadow government for eons now. Yeah.
Yep. And one of the things you hear all the time is that people are ready to talk at high levels, they're ready to talk, and suddenly they change their mind and say nothing to see here. The tactic is employed so infuriating, so many times it's infuriating where they will, someone's ready to disclose, and then they show up later going, no, nothing to see. You know,
Well,
they're
why do you
approached.
think, sorry, Tom, you're right. Why do you think this whole Charlie Kirk thing is? Okay. The spacecraft before that, you know, the UFO disclosure before that, the Epstein file before that, the Kennedy file before that. We're never going to be given anything. And that's why we're here, to talk, right, guys? And we're going to keep talking. And, you know, the bankers in space are the ones that have been in space and Mars, they're in Venus, they're in, you know, now, Carrie does not believe that I was, you know, I had a dealing with Valiant Thor from Venus, and I have memories with Susan and others being trained by him to go invisible, to go through wormholes. And we started as kids with parachutes because they didn't want us to be afraid of flying without anything.
Well, I'd say this to you too, Veronica, you don't have to empower Carrie. Carrie doesn't know. She's just, you don't have to you mention her a lot. You don't empower her. Just let her be her own thing and get her own audience. Yours is your show. So Veronica's show, nothing to do with Carrie, you know. So just let's listen to what you have to say.
You're right. And I've been told that before. It's just me. I was raised, my father would always say, da crédito donde crédito está. Like, give credit where credit is due. And I always, with my mother, I had to present evidence. Okay, who said it? ¿Quién te dijo? ¿Dónde anda? ¿Dónde lo encontraste? ¿Cuánto cuesta? You know, like, so that's my programming, and you're right.
Well,
you're right.
If it helps, watch my face. Every time you say Carrie said something, I go, you know, it's like, just watch my face. So it's like, you're making me nauseous. So I want to hear what Veronica has to say. No more what Carrie said. Because every time you do, I have to keep going in my brain going, negate that, negate that, negate that. All right. It's those that want attention, and there's those that want to give facts. So I'm going to talk to the ones that want to have facts. So anyway, there I am.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just, you know, if anybody has a question on it, on anything we say here, you know, I'll back it up with any kind of, you know, here's a video, here's the Substack, here's this, here's that. You know,
So it's your show. It's your show. Yeah. And I appreciate what you have to say and what your guests have to say. So that's what I want to do. So yay, there'll be no more cringing on my part. Thanks.
Grazie, bambino. Thank you. Okay, Marcel, your turn. You got 5 more minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. Yeah. My back starts aching terribly because I'm sitting now for almost 2 hours. And I'm looking forward to the end now.
Okay, let's do another show, but I'm booked until January. So let's do a show in January, Marcel?
Okay, no problem. Yeah. After these millions of people arrived from 3i Atlas, we are talking again.
Yep.
You're making me laugh. Thank you very much. These tiny, tiny microscopic people. Anyway, thanks, guys.
Thank you. I love you guys. Okay, Marcel, please send me your links for the, you know,
it must be end people, maybe. The end people coming back.
I tell you, I just hope that they're not here to take any more of our children.
Well, here's how it plays out. They appear and they go, take us to your leader. And we're like, what? What? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. You're too small. What? Take us to we're supposed to be afraid of you guys? Anyway, okay. Thanks, though, guys.
I'm looking forward to get to know all these millions of aliens arriving on 3i Atlas, or probably also on Swan.
It'll take 3 hours to unload them anyway, so it'll be like a very boring program where they'll be walking down the plankway. Oh, we're watching some more come. Yeah, all right.
They can come to Germany because we are taking all the refugees, as you know. No matter if it's millions or billions.
Well,
Oh
this
my
has been
God.
great. Thank you, Veronica, for doing
Yeah,
this.
thanks, you
Great
guys. I love you. Thanks for being on Codebreaker Real Talk, and we'll write down the links from Marcel so you can listen to him on other shows too. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Marcel. Bye-bye.
Again, so have a good time.
Thank you, Marcel. Love you. Bye. Au revoir. See you later.